Welcome to the 90 Plus One YouTube show. I'm Dan Vaughn, the host of the show. You probably know me from my podcasts all over the Protagonist podcast line, and of course the 90 Plus One podcast is my joint project with Damon Gochner. But this is our YouTube show where we'll talk about U.S. men's national team rumors, news, the stories that dominate U.S. men's national team talk. And basically, this is from the perspective of a fan. Like, I am not an expert on U.S. men's national team. I am just a fan, someone that enjoys the soccer and wants to talk about it, and has a vested interest in the success of the club because this is the team that I want to cheer for. It's my national team, and so it's the team that I take serious. Of course, the big news for the U.S. men's national team off of their Nations League championship is the Gold Cup, the 2021 Gold Cup, which is set to kick off the second week of July. While not all of the specifics of the schedule are ironed out just yet, we do have the date. The first date for the U.S. men's national team will be July 11th, and of course, with that competition set to kick off, the preliminary rosters are out, and oh boy, you are going to be excited for this roster, particularly if you like MLS. It is important to note that this is a preliminary roster. It's 60 players, and that's going to be trimmed down to 23 before this competition kicks off. So if you see a name or two you're not thrilled about, maybe you kind of wish Berhalter wasn't choosing that person, keep in mind that that person might not make the final roster. Also to be brought into the conversation is the fact that the Nations League eliminated some players that might have been eligible for Gold Cup just because of the time that they had to put in. And we're also dealing with a lot of European players who may be in the offseason or about to head into preseason that need to have those reps with their home club. And Berhalter sees this competition as being not as important as the World Cup qualifiers that'll kick off very soon. So let's take a look at the goalkeepers. This list is players that you've heard of, players that we've seen play for the U.S. men's national team. Bill Hamid, Sean Johnson, Brad Guzan, no strangers to making the U.S. men's national team roster or make camp appearances. New name, someone that's been sort of on the periphery. People have been pushing for his inclusion. Matthew Turner, who plays for MLS's New England Revolution, has made the list here, and there is a lot of buzz around this player given his shot-stopping abilities, particularly when you consider some of the struggles that Stefan has had in goalkeeping for this team. This might be Matt Turner's chance to step up and really put maybe his name into the pot for starting keeper for the U.S. men's national team. We'll see. Berhalter is known to play favorites, particularly when it comes to the guys that played for him at the Crew. Stefan is one of those players, so we'll see. But Matt Turner's on the list, and we'll see if he makes the final 23 cut. So we've talked goalkeepers. Let's talk about the guys that play in front of them, the defenders. I think that you're going to obviously expect some of the names that regularly appear for the U.S. men's national team from the MLS rosters. People like Walker Zimmerman, Sam Vines, James Sands, Miles Robinson. These are all names that any fan of the U.S. men's national team has seen at camps, particularly that sort of MLS heavy camp that happens in January. These are all players that we know, people that we've heard of. The one that I'm excited about, and maybe you're not nearly as excited about it as I am, is Cameron Carter-Vickers. I don't know that maybe you realize that, but certainly I was surprised to realize that he's only 23. He's been in the Tottenham system forever and has basically been on loan constantly. Last season, he was with AFC Bournemouth in the championship. They finished 6th. He played 21 appearances for them. I'd love to see CCV get a chance to turn around sort of his stock with the U.S. men's national team. I don't know that he's got it within him, but I'm hopeful that he does. And he's only going to get, so many opportunities until he stops getting the call. I love this guy. I would love to see him get a chance to shine. If we talked about a position in the U.S. men's national team roster, when we've got all things considered, when we've got every player available, all the people that we want, midfield is that place where you really have talent that's world class. Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa. These are players, and even throw in Sebastian Lletget here. Sebastian Lletget is a great glue guy that will operate with those other talents and make a place for himself to be productive. All of those guys shine really great. So when you start seeing some of their MLS counterparts, it's not quite as exciting. So I would not be surprised, given Berhalter's approach to roster management, that we're probably going to see a Christian Moldan here. Of course, Jackson Ewell, who's, in my opinion, showing some of the reasons why maybe he's not quite world-class yet, or maybe never will be world-class. We've seen some of those issues, particularly during Nations League play. He was a liability in a lot of cases. I imagine we'll see him a lot. Berhalter's big on, do you know his system? Does he trust you? And if those two things are the case, he's going to find a place for that. But if there's a name to be excited here, for me, it's Julian Green. Yes, that Julian Green. Yeah, the guy that scored goals in World Cup. That guy, Julian Green, has been incredibly productive in Germany, has built a career, and is still young enough to still produce for the U.S. men's national team. And I would love to see this guy get an opportunity. I know every guy gets excited about it. It's always the Europeans, and it's true. Like, I like the guys that are playing in Europe. I think the level is a little bit higher there. But I want to see Julian Green get a chance to shine, get involved with the program again. I know that, once Klinsmann left, that was sort of the last we saw of Julian Green. This is his chance. Like, I want to see him do something in the Gold Cup and maybe find a way into that World Cup roster if we qualify. Did I just jinx this? If there's any position on the U.S. men's national team roster, top to bottom, that is more in flux, it's got to be forward. We've just struggled to find the right mix, the right player skills to make this position function within what Berhalter's trying to do. So because of that, going into this Gold Cup, this is an opportunity for a player to step up, make a name for themselves, and push themselves into the conversation for those World Cup qualifiers that are coming up soon, and then hopefully that final World Cup roster. Because of that, the name that I think everyone is really fired up for here, the one that they really want to see, obviously, is Daryl Dike. That's going to be up to whether or not he finds a home in Europe or if he's still playing in MLS. If a move happens, by the time you're seeing this, that may have already happened. But he is the name that I think people want to see. Did not get a lot of run during Nations League and looks so good in the championship that there's this hope that he might be that player. He might be that next, center point of attack that Josie Altidore was in the past. Hey, Josie Altidore on this list, on the provisional roster. Will he get a chance to play? Hard to know at this point where he's at as far as his career is concerned, but definitely his name's on the list. But don't forget that we also have Giazzi Zardes up here. Yeah, Giazzi. Not a guy that I think a lot of critical U.S. men's national team fans want to see, but boy, does he find a way to somehow get the ball into the net every time he plays. I think that Berhalter's track record tells us that there is a good chance that we're going to see some Zardes in this competition, and it would not surprise me, just given how it is. Hate him all you want, dude will probably score. And so you've looked over the list, or if you haven't, I hope you have at this point. And obviously I've talked about some of the players that I'm interested in off this list. And it comes down to the hopefully capable hands of Greg Berhalter to figure out what players we're going to take into the Gold Cup to compete and hopefully win another piece of silverware. Winning Nations League was awesome, particularly winning over Mexico. But Nations League is done now. It's in the past. We move on to the Gold Cup, and we're not going to have all of our best players. It's going to be a B team going into this competition. How are we going to do in this? What kind of tactics is Berhalter going to use to approach this? And can we be competitive further down that roster as we get down to this, maybe the third or fourth option for these positions? Can we still be competitive? It all remains to be seen. We'll find out July 11th when we get into the Gold Cup action. That's it for this Gold Cup roster preview edition of the 90+1 YouTube show. Hope you enjoyed it. It's a brand new format for us, not something that I'm used to for sure. I've always joked and said that I've got a face for podcasting. Let me know. I'd love to hear your comments. Maybe I am more handsome or much uglier than you were expecting. Who knows? Let me know. Like and subscribe. Follow us on this channel. We'll be putting out fresh content regularly when it comes to the U.S. men's national team, talking about our perspectives on the game. We're fans. It's what we do. Myself and Damon, we love this team. We do not pretend to be the most expert voices. There's plenty of those. You'll probably hear me recommend some of the ones that I listen to. But if you like our takes, if you like our perspective, like I said, subscribe to this channel and also check us out on all our podcasts, 90+1 podcasts. It's available Spotify, Apple Podcast. We regularly put out shows about the U.S. men's national team, and we'd love for you to subscribe and follow us there as well. But that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed the talk and looking forward to this Gold Cup competition. Really would love to get another win. Would it be so bad if we beat El Tri again? That's it. We'll talk to you soon.